The Truth in His Heart. I am your host, Rob Lee. And today it is my pleasure to be in conversation with and to welcome my next guest. My guest has served on various boards, including the Board of Regents of Morgan State University and the Morgan State University Foundation. Go Bears. My guest is the Deputy Director at Baltimore Homecoming. Please welcome Matthew Reeds. Welcome to the podcast.
It's going well. Thanks so much for having me on.
Thank you for coming on. It's great to chat. I mean, I see things that I relate to in this bio, and the information that I read. I scoured the internet for all of this, but I see proud Baltimorean, check. Morgan State, check. Poly, we're not going to dwell on.
Oh no!
Yeah. And the Hopkins connection as well, so it's definitely want to give you that space and that opportunity to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your background, and if you could pepper in there, what led to the philanthropy and doing good, in Baltimore. So the floor is yours.
Of course. Well, again, thanks so much for having me on. Definitely an honor. My name is Matthew Reeds. I'm originally from Baltimore. And Rob, I went to the greatest high school in America, the Baltimore Polytechnic Institute. I'm sure you went to City College since you have that remark. I can't believe I just put it out of my mouth, actually, but like I said, I'm originally from the city. My mother was a teacher in the city. My wife is currently a teacher as well, and have always just been involved in education and always pushed higher to go to education. And so after I left Poly, I went to Morgan State, as you said, was very involved in the community there. I also served on the Board of Regents there. So that was kind of like my first intro into like, what does a board mean? What is service? And it was honestly a great experience. I had great mentors on the board. Elijah Cummings, who was on the board, and Representative Kwesi Mfume, and just leaders throughout Baltimore. And I think that was a key touch point for me to really understand what service was. I actually didn't start my career that way. I started my career on Wall Street at Goldman Sachs. So I left Baltimore for a little bit and realized that's not really what I wanted to do. I really wasn't passionate about the work and decided I wanted to come back to the city. So I guess I had my own Baltimore Homecoming experience. I worked in the mayor's office here. So I worked in the mayor's office of Children and Family Success, really helping to build partnerships within the community. And I like to say I really got involved in the nonprofit space through a lot of my mentors. My sister is autistic, and so I was really involved in the disability community within Baltimore, and decided me and my wife wanted to launch a fund to help fund scholarships for young adults who are autistic. So that's kind of how I got into the space. Yeah. And then, after the mayor's office, I went to business school full-time at Johns Hopkins, Carey Business School, just graduated in May. And then I accepted a position with Baltimore Homecoming, which is really exciting and what we're here to talk about. I've always kind of just loved the work of the nonprofits throughout the city, and just really fortunate to be here in this role. So it's a little bit about me.
Well, thank you for that, and that introduction and that extra context and complexity there. And congratulations on the recent graduation as well.
Thank you. It was a journey.
Man, I tapped out at undergrad. I was like, all right, real Morgan, peace out.
Yes, it was a journey.
So we have sort of and this might be. Some people may find it as a challenging question. I think we all have our sort of, this is the public reason, like this is the one that sounds good on the bio as to what our whys are. So I'm going to give you a moment to think on that, because I'm definitely asking that question. But as I think about what my why is, right? My why, is two-tiered, I think. And both are true at the same time. There is the sort of petty why. I was like, nah, you ain't gonna be talking about Baltimore. How dare you? And literally my head is moving and all of that, right?
Yeah.
And then the other side of it is what kind of motivates and drives a lot of the work here, because it is work. Recently I've had more and more folks reach out to me asking, for me to help teach sort of the next generation of podcasters and how to navigate and get into the space. And that's another thing that kind of drives it. Like, there's the sort of, petty egoic side of it, right? Of, hey, how dare you? But also there's the other side where it's like, how can I help people? How can I put people on? And that definitely, it feels very true. It feels very real for me. And those are my whys, if you will. They're, it's like you get the ice cream cone, you get the vanilla, and you get the chocolate swirl. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yep.
So for you, like, do you, and maybe you mentioned it in your introduction, but, is that how you present your whys? What are your whys as it comes to like the work that you're doing? It's not always positive. It's not always negative, not always neutral, but what are your whys?
Of course. Great question. For me, it was actually really soul searching that I took, as I mentioned, when I took the first position, like right after undergrad. I didn't really know why I took that position. Like you said, like I was just really just trying to come into myself, understand who I was. Throughout that process, I did a lot of digging, and I really understood my why to be as a connector, and to really help organizations and to really help connect them and connect things across the city. And so as I, come into this role, that's really what Baltimore Homecoming does, is really a huge relationship engine, really helping connecting those within the city. Because I do think there's definitely strength in us all working together, and for organizations to really exist to help be that connection point. And so that's really what inspires me. Like, I love Baltimore because, when I run into somebody, like it's Baltimore, you run into somebody, you're always connecting people. And what I love about the city is that people are always willing to help and reach out. And so I definitely feel like that's a part of my why as well, to be able to always be available for others and to really be a giver and helper. And like I said, it doesn't always have to be something large and big, but it could be very small. I love those acts of service and doing things for others. And so that's really my why.
Thank you. Wow, that's great, and it almost sounds like the social community love language right there. It's like I heard that.
Yes, the acts of service.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So let's dive deeper into Baltimore Homecoming. Like, give us sort of the, we like to have the official, but we like to have the paraphrased or what have you, right? So provide an overview of what Baltimore Homecoming is and its significance within the city, within Baltimore.
Of course. No. So thanks so much for that. So Baltimore Homecoming launched in 2018. It's a nonprofit organization throughout the city. And really what Baltimore Homecoming strives to do is to mobilize accomplished Baltimoreans that are across the world, and to help those alumni to spark new collaborations and to drive new investments into Baltimore's future. So the way that I like to simplify that is basically a relationship engine throughout the city, really helping relationships to take place. And we really do this through our community partners, and the alumni community that we're building. They really help and support community partners that are on the ground doing the work every day. And so we do this through various different ways of connecting with Baltimore alumni, through different phone calls, connection points. We also host different regional events throughout the country, to engage Baltimore alumni that aren't in Baltimore. So that's our mission. It's really exciting because, like I said, I just started this role in March, and going across the country and listening to Baltimore alumni who have left the city, gone on to do great things, and just to see how much they care and are invested in the city. That's really untapped, potential that the city can kind of harness to drive change. So that's what Baltimore Homecoming does.
I like it. Thank you.
Yeah.
So you touched on it. You joined in the position of Deputy Director in March. I like to say GDEP.
There you go.
And I think when we move into a new role, whenever I start a new role, new opportunity, I'm coming into it with a fresh set of eyes, a different perspective. So obviously there's that alignment with what your values are and sharing a bit of your story and Baltimore Homecoming and that focus. So what would you say your main focus and responsibilities are in your role? And like, really what was your process in, because it's still super fresh, obviously, your process and kind of like building out what you plan to do in your role. Like, I know some folks like to do a listening tour and all of that sort of stuff. So share a bit about that with us.
Of course. So my main focus within the organization is running our two community programs. So we have the Homecoming Hero Awards and we have the Crab Tank Pitch Competition, and I'll share more about those later. But those are the two responsibilities, really to help drive impact within the city and to amplify the work that people are doing throughout the city already. And when I first started, similar to what you said, I did do a listening tour. But what I think was most important in this role as well is not just doing not just doing a listening tour, like hearing what people have to say, but really bringing people together and having those dialogues and conversations. And so we've been able to do community partner mixers to, get that feedback around what is going well in our community, some things that we can improve in as well, and to be able to drive collaborations. And really, for me, I think what's important in this role is to be able to understand the community partners' needs, understand what's going on in their spaces, and being able to translate that to real actionable outcomes for our alumni. So I took a lot of time to do that. I took also a lot of time coming into this role, just building relationships. Obviously in this work, relationship building is crucial. And so taking a lot of time to go to organizations, see what their operations look like day to day, see where they are in the city, and to see for myself, different things that we as Baltimore Homecoming can do to help partner and support their work. And so, that's kind of how I approach the work. I think that it's important to also put yourself in different community partners' shoes, and to really understand things from their experiences as well. And so, it's easy to do a listening tour, hear what's said, and not really act upon that. But it's another thing to take it to another level and to really meet them where they are and to learn about their day to day as well.
Thank you. And going back a little bit, because I think it connects to that last point there. I think, Baltimore, as you said, it's Baltimore. It's not huge, right? But at the same time, it feels really decentralized at times. And, let me guess, East Baltimore or West Baltimore? Which one for you?
East, definitely East.
So it's that kind of thing. Man, I don't go over West.
So right.
They're 20 minutes away. They're right. 20 minutes. So I think that in terms of how resources are allocated, how collaborations, how partnerships, all of these different things happen, it needs entities or even podcasts, for lack of a better term, to try to hey, this is in your city. You should check this out, and kind of increase that sort of awareness around that. What would you say in doing, being a proud Baltimorean, being here for the majority of your life, right? What are some of the things that you've learned, since you've been in this role, that you're this was hiding in plain sight the entire time?
Yeah. Good question. I think definitely what I've learned so far in this role is that people do want to collaborate, and people do want to work together. I think there needs to be a mechanism to kind of help those collaborations to take place. I think within our Homecoming Heroes program too, there has been a lot of collaboration between our Homecoming Heroes, of them working together. I don't think it's a matter of organizations not wanting to work together. I think it's just the manpower to actually coordinate and to do all these different things. And so that's what part of what Baltimore Homecoming does too, is to help to amplify the work that people are doing, because a lot of the times, you're in a nonprofit organization, you're in the day to day, you don't really have time to step back and to think, how can we, amplify the work that we're doing? How can we help to get media opportunities? How can we, strategize, do all these different things? And so I think that that's where Homecoming has a unique opportunity, because that's essentially what we're doing. We're allowing a platform for our homecoming heroes to be able to talk about the work that they do, but also beyond that, we also, the relationship doesn't end after they attend Baltimore Homecoming. Like, we help support them, we bring them to different regional events, and we're always thinking about different collaboration opportunities as well. So, I think that that's what I've learned so far in this role, is that I think, Baltimore, we're doing great. Like, I think a part of what Homecoming does as well is we want to help change the narrative around Baltimore and how great things aren't happening, because great things are happening in the city, and people do care about the city and care about the work that they do. I think it just, takes a level of stepping back and, amplifying what's going on instead of all the negativity. So
yeah, it sounds like aligned values. I mean, who said that City and Poly didn't get along? It felt really weird coming out, didn't it? Yeah. So you touched on it a little bit earlier, so I definitely want to dive in on this. So Baltimore Homecoming consists of several programs. Can you tell us a bit about the Crab Tank pitch competition and the Homecoming Hero Awards program, and how they contribute to the overall goals of Baltimore Homecoming?
Of course, yeah. Thanks so much. So I'll start with talking a little bit about our Homecoming Hero Awards. So really, our Homecoming Hero Awards were created to uplift the people within the city who are leaders and doers within the communities. T. Rowe Price is our sponsor for Homecoming Hero Awards, and the Baltimore Banner is our media partner. And really the way that this works is that each year we put out a public call for nominations. We ask the Baltimore community, who are the people leaders and doers within the community. And we recognize those individuals with a $5,000 award to help support them in their organization. But then also we allow the top 5 finalists to tell their stories on the homecoming stage, and with our alumni community who are there. And so the benefit of that is that, through this, we're able to kind of highlight their stories, but afterwards we're able to continue to stay in touch with them to filter whether it's media opportunities, mentorship, alumni who might be interested in donating in their organization, different workshops, or anything that we have resources to, we pour back into our homecoming heroes. And so that's really our Homecoming Heroes program. Right now, we're actually live with voting for our Homecoming Heroes at BaltimoreHomecoming.com/voteheroes23. Check them all out. They're really amazing. I've had the pleasure to meet all of them, and they're just awesome. They are really committed and are very diverse and very committed to the city. And so I'm very excited for our Homecoming Heroes this year. And as you mentioned as well, we also host a Crab Tank pitch competition. So that launched in 2019. M&T Bank is our sponsor, and Baltimore Business Journal is our media sponsor. And really, the Crab Tank pitch competition is a play on Shark Tank, for those who have seen it. It really is a platform to spotlight small and medium-sized businesses throughout the city. And the cash prize is $25,000 for the pitch competition. And something that was new this year that we did with Crab Tank is that we also had a public voting component to it as well, where people in the community could also vote on the businesses that they felt were really, doing a lot of change within the community, and also really committed to Baltimore. And so, we're really excited to announce our finalists for Crab Tank soon as well.
That's great. That's great. I can almost see sort of, Crab Tank, just someone like, so pitch it to me, but with all of the Baltimore accent in terms of,
yes.
Like, yo.
Yes, you need all the accent, or it wasn't a pitch if you didn't have the accent in it.
How many Orioles jerseys are here? What are we doing? So speak a little bit more on like the impact. We always hear about that. I mean, we just got out of some folks' fiscal year, mid-year for, I think, just, mid-calendar year, but wrapping up fiscal year for many folks. And we see these impact statements and things of that nature coming out. But I think there's a little bit more value in some of the stories that come out. Now, granted, you've been there for only a few months at this juncture, but, has there been any stories or outcomes shared or that you've witnessed that, really pop for you?
Of course. So there has been a lot of impact that's come out of this. One story that I like to share that I always found really impactful. Oh, sorry, can you hear me? Okay, perfect. So one story that I really like to share is Anna Rodney. She's the executive director of Mom Cares, and at Baltimore Homecoming, she met Lance Reddick, who's an actor, and actually recently passed, and he was in The Wire. And Baltimore Homecoming created a platform for them to meet. And so Anna, through meeting with Lance, she was able to obviously gain a lot of social capital, because he would obviously post that he was with her, talk about the organization, which led to a lot of donations to her organization for her to go to increase her staff within her organization, to be able to really go to the next level with the work that she does with women within the city. And so I like to use that example because I think that that's one of the most powerful things that Baltimore Homecoming does is, like I mentioned before, a relationship engine, being able to put people in a room where they normally would not have met before, and to really invest within the city, and for different individuals to really see the work that people are on the ground are actually doing day in and day out. And so I think that that's what really is unique about Baltimore Homecoming, is that we're able to bring a diverse group of people together in one room to be able for collaborations to happen. So that's one example. And also through our regional events that we've hosted throughout this year, we've gone to Philly, Boston, New York, LA, all over. We've seen some outcomes from that too. People who are interested in serving on boards, people who are interested in giving. And so we're really excited about our regional events and being able to meet Baltimoreans where they are, and I like to say, bring Baltimore on the road and, bring our homecoming heroes and our crafting entrepreneurs with us, for them to be able to see the work that's happening in Baltimore. They don't have to leave their doorstep. And so I think our regional event model that we've been doing has been really successful.
That's dope. And I do a similar thing. I had this series that, coming back soon, but every Friday would be Fridays for Philly. I go up there, I do those interviews, connect those dots. And, I do I'm a Baltimore evangelist. Whenever I leave the city and I go elsewhere, I'll hear people like, they'll hit me up that I've interviewed in other cities. I'm like, yo, Rob, I'm in Baltimore. You were right. It's fire. And
I love that.
That's really what it is. That's the work, and that's the point of it. And again, that's that alignment. So I really am digging what you're putting down. I'm picking up what you're putting down. That's the saying, right?
Thank you. I love it. I love
very
it.
Corny, very corny saying, but it's the same. So I got two more real questions here. I would definitely want to pitch to you. Pitch. No?
There you go.
Many local organizations and institutions are involved in supporting both programs of Baltimore Homecoming. How do you continue to engage throughout the year, specifically at the Activate 2023 event?
Of course. So yes, we have a lot of local organizations who help to support both of our programs. So for our homecoming heroes, like I mentioned, we have T. Rowe Price involved in the Baltimore banner. We also have a selection committee of community leaders, people who are really committed to wanting the homecoming heroes program to be great, but also people who are really in the community doing the work. And we're really excited for all those organizations who are a part of Homecoming Heroes. We also, for our Homecoming Heroes, we have pitch coaches where we help support them through their storytelling sessions to help them to be able to tell their story better, and to, connect them with different resources throughout the city as well. And so we do that throughout the year. For Crab Tank, similar thing. We're also happy that M&T Bank is a sponsor. We also host a workshop for our pitch competition, where we invite local business owners, people in the tech community, startup community, et cetera, to help coach our Crab Tank entrepreneurs so that they can have the best pitch possible. And like I said, we always invite them to different events throughout the city, different things that either we're hosting or that one of our partners are hosting, so that we can continue to build that community.
That's great. It's one of those things where, I find like a lot of times folks just aren't aware, or, they're not getting an invite or something along those lines. But you continue to foster that relationship. And I like one of the things you said earlier, and I'll paraphrase a little bit, where it's like, oh, no, you're an alum. You're always part of the network here.
Yes.
Let's not
Yes.
And, and that's kind of how I think these relationships, that sort of secret sauce, especially, if we're being frank about it, when it comes to folks that look like you and me, it's just like, all right, did you get that invitation? You in the know? What's good? And that's how you bring that back to sort of maybe people that aren't always right there on the radar. So having community focus, it really broadens it. It allows, opportunities to connect. Someone may have, because many of the names that you've mentioned, right, I've interviewed, and it's important to really be able to help, folks share their stories and, see what comes out of it, because these are the people that are doing the work.
Exactly.
So let's see. Speaking, this is I got one more after that. Just added a question.
Yeah, of course.
Speaking of the Activate 2023 event, can you provide some of the insights, like, that folks can expect, or what they can look forward to if they're attending? Like, give us a little bit of that. And, it's a teaser. It's almost like the trailer.
A little sneak peek. Of course. So we're really excited this year to, again, bring back our alumni community in October of this year. And our theme this year is Baltimore Homecoming Activate. Last year we had Baltimore Homecoming Amplify. And so the way that we think about it was, last year really amplifying connections. This year we want to activate those connections to make meaningful change within the city. So what you can expect this year is that we will have dinners where people are connecting, engaging, and people are also connecting with our homecoming heroes, our Crab Tank entrepreneurs, to be able to drive those investments throughout the city. And so we'll have one day that's really focused on small groups, intermingling, dinners, et cetera, for the community to be able to get to know each other. And then the following day, we will present our 2023 homecoming heroes and our 2023 Crab Tank pitches. And so our alumni community actually gets to witness all the great things that are going on across the city. And then after that, we have some exciting news as well coming soon. And then we will also have, lunches and things like that for people to connect. And so we're really excited for that. And we will also have a CEO roundtable where we will be convening CEOs across the city to talk about some of the changes within Baltimore and some things that are coming. So, I'm excited for it.
Great. Love it. So this is the last real question, and it goes a little something like this. It's almost like, I don't know how old you are, but it's like, back in the day, it's like, want to hear it, here you go.
There you go.
It's not good at all. So you've had a career that has had service and making those connections, philanthropy, all of these really cool community-oriented things at the forefront. What is your number one piece of advice that I guess you can frame it as a piece of advice, but what has been something that's been a consideration for you to be successful at what you do, to have that sort of longevity, and maybe that serves as the advice? So what would you kind of offer up in that area?
That's a great question. I think for me personally, I think one thing that I've done throughout my career is just to be genuine and to make genuine connections with folks and not really have ulterior motive or, want anything from that, but really to just serve to serve. A lot of things that I've done have been volunteer opportunities or, just trying to get to understand someone or something, and a job opportunity might have come out of that, or something later down the road as well. So I would say to just if there's a particular area of service that you're really interested in, like just go all in with it. And I think within Baltimore is really easy to do because there's so many different organizations, there's so many things to get involved with, and continue to just maintain those relationships that you are building throughout your time of serving. I know that has really helped me as well, and to be able to identify mentors who can really help support me in my career development and my growth. So that's the advice that I would give. Yeah.
That's great. As it's one to grow on too, as a person who doesn't really seek out mentors, but always asks to be a mentor, by the way, which is really, it's very rare. I have like maybe 3 folks that I look forward to for mentorship, and it's come out of doing this podcast, to be honest with you. And it's just like there was a connection that was there, and I never wanted to be like one side, like tell me everything and then you can finally die off. Now I'm done with you, I'm good.
Exactly right.
It's just like, how can it's like, how can we be of service? How can we be useful to each other? And when those opportunities come now, or they feel like they're framed in that direction, that's what I lead with. That's not, I don't try to fashion it that way. I think it's too hierarchical for me. But I just try to, make myself useful. And one of the things you said earlier is being available too. I try to do that. And it's corny because I'm an Aquarius and I don't say it. I like to ride that wave. I ride the wave of service. Yeah.
There you go.
So I got like 5 questions. I've been adding and typing while we've been talking. I got 5 rapid fire questions.
Of course. I love it.
So I'm going to lead off with this one, because I have my different hacks and my way of going about things. Like it might be a scheduled email. It might be like stacking things, that idea. What is your favorite time hack? Because you're a very busy individual. You were saying like, I started, I was wrapping up school. And I was like, look, I've gone with wrapping up school and having a job. Those 2 things are very, especially onboarding and all. That's a very, so what's your favorite time hack? How do you make things fit when it comes to time?
That's a great question. Someone gave me this advice a while ago, and it really helped me a lot is, we always get the questions around like time management, like work-life balance, like all these different things. I like to look at it as if, as a blend. Like sometimes your personal life is just going to be more demanding and that's going to have to ramp up. And then sometimes work is more demanding and that has to ramp up. So I think, definitely for me, I'm definitely an early riser. Like I'm up like 4:45 like every day. You just see his face. I'm like up. But unlike, most people, I don't like check my email, like, do all those different things. Like I really just use that as a time to just think and to just, pray, like just to get myself together and to really center myself for the day, exercise, workout, however that. And then, I like to watch the news. I like to know what's going on in Baltimore. And then, I think, obviously, calendar management is big for me. Like Google Calendar is my best friend. So my friends know that if it's not on Matthew's calendar, he's just not going to show up. So
Same.
You're right. Exactly. So so that's how I kind of manage it. And I think just being, open and honest and not really separating like my personal or my professional life, like, just having those open conversations. Like if I'm dealing with things at home that is going to take more of my time, just being open about that at work. And then at work, if things are going, if I have a lot going on, just being open with that at home. And so that has really helped me a lot. I think when I first started my career, I tried to separate the 2, like tried to be like, and just get to a point where it's like, enough is enough. Like can't do that anymore. And I would say those are like my calendar hacks.
I dig it. As a person that's able to juggle many things, you're always looking for that new hack. And I did this talk, I want to say at the end of 2022 for Creative Mornings, and we wrapped up. And for context, I put out 333 episodes last year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And people are like, so when are you taking a break, though?
Exactly,
like,
right.
It's about being productive, man. It's like, yeah, man, do it, man. And they're like, no, you need to take a break. You're gonna burn yourself out. So, I made this effort to try to, and part of this goes to the conversation I had with Delali from Fearless of like, what's that cadence? And started to like look at, all right, I'm gonna do maybe, and I'm planning this out for this sort of next series of, all right, I'm going to do maybe 2 months of recording, but not overdo it. And then take like a month off, 2 months of recording, then a month off. So these sort of quarterly baked in periods of nothing, absolutely nothing. And really kind of, it's almost, you mentioned like fitness a moment ago. It's almost like when you're doing different levels of intensity, when you're doing your cardio or what have you, it's like, I can't go full bore for the entire 30 minutes.
Exactly right.
I can do bursts of like 1 minute or 30 seconds of really all out, and then back to something that's a little bit more normal. So really thinking it, because, like you said, it waxes and wanes what the needs are. And there's only so much energy and output and all of that stuff that we really have to attend to those things.
Yeah. And I think to add to that too, that has had me thinking, like, I wasn't always the best at this, but I've definitely gotten better over the years around delegation, like just realizing, hey, I'm only one person. I can only be in one place at one time. I'll be trying to like be in two places at one time, like trying to go from this to that, like, and just learning to delegate. Like, you don't have to, be the leader of everything. You don't have to be in every council, every task force, everything, just picking and choosing what is really important for you to really involve your time with. And then just recommending a friend that would be great if you can't do it, instead of saying yes, you really can't do it, just saying, hey, I can't right now. I have a friend that'd be really great in this. So
it's good.
That's what I've learned to do.
So these next two, I think, is going to get us back on track, because I know some people listen to like the rapid fire portion. It's like, where's the rapid fire part? Rob is talking to me.
No.
So I got the two here that I think are going to be very, very quick ones. What's your favorite color?
Favorite color? So I'm going to give, it's not a favorite color, but a favorite mix. I love orange and blue because of Poly.
You absolutely trolled. I knew it was coming. I thought you were going to say, Leia, I like Poly blue and orange.
But I also like it because it's Morgan colors too. So I feel like from high school to college, those are all the colors that I accumulated within my wardrobe. So yeah, so inevitably became my favorite colors.
I'll throw this shirt in your direction because it works as well. So I had black and city orange for high school, and then
not city orange.
I swapped over and I did the Morgan State colorway, as it were, and then upon graduating, actually while it was concurrent. While I was at Morgan, I worked for the Orioles as well.
Oh, wow. So you really had that.
Yeah. Gang. Always black and orange. Let's go.
Yes.
What is your all-time favorite Baltimore food? We all have our things. And, it's about, culture and all of that stuff. And it's almost the real Baltimorean test a little bit, if you will.
Sure. Mine is definitely the egg custard snowball. I had one yesterday.
Okay, we might be friends again, because that's my favorite flavor there.
That's definitely my favorite Baltimore thing, snowball. Yeah, I was actually talking to my wife the other day. I'm like, it would be nice if I had like a snowball machine, but I'm not there. If I find one, it might be dangerous, but.
At one point, I was working on having an official snowball flavor because, I like a really distinct combination. I have no problem with sharing it because I'm sure it's just very low rent, but I like what I like, right? And I was calling it the Wave Daddy. I have a jersey that reads that, by the way. It's an Orioles jersey, so black and city orange.
Oh gosh.
It's an egg custard snowball, and it has a bit of the coconut like flavor as well, and a little bit of the fluff. It is delicious.
That sounds good. That does sound good. Oh man, you might have me going to today to get another.
Try it. And put it out there in the zeitgeist. Like, yeah, I want to have one of those Rob Lee snowballs. You're like, what is that?
There you go.
This is how I got a coffee at one point. How do you approach networking? I've always, because I went to Morgan's like business school, what have you, and great education, all of the good stuff. But I'm very tall and I can be very imposing looking. So me walking over to try to network, it's like, why is this bear talking to me? I'm 6'4" for context. So, what is your approach to networking? Are you more of a person that connects with that one person and really makes that connection? Like, not necessarily when you're working, but just generally speaking, are you, making that one person connection, or are you one of those, I can work a room?
Definitely extroversion and work a room, I would say. But I think I also think it depends. Like, I think, having graduated business school too, like everyone's always like network. Which I feel like in Baltimore, like I said, it's Baltimore, everyone kind of does know each other. And in a way, working together or doing things together, like paths just kind of cross. So I think my approach now to networking and meeting new people is really just to understand their stories. Like, I might just grab a coffee with them. It's more like one-on-one, I would say, just to be able to understand them, like their story, and just maintaining that, if I see an interesting article that, maybe they are, I'm just using an example because this is fresh on my mind, but if they're in the nonprofit space and they might do something around health, I might send them an article that I see that's like, saw this article might be interesting to you. So I guess long story short, figuring out ways how I can add value to people. And it doesn't always, I think when people think add value, it doesn't always have to be like I'm delivering you some big project or whatever, but maybe I'm just giving you a new article to think about, or maybe when you just crossed my mind, I just sent you a text, hey, hope all is well, just checking in, and just being genuine and not, only reaching out when you need something, or, you're trying to figure out something. But I've also approached it where just getting to pick people's brains, I found has really been helpful for me. So that's where at the stage I think I am on my networking journey now, like getting coffee, wanting to understand, someone's thought process and how they think about things. Because honestly, that can help me in my work, but then also just, it might not even be about work. Like, it might be how did you navigate this issue? So yeah, I would say I mix between both, but the extroversion definitely comes out if there's a larger room and seeing multiple people, that will definitely come out for sure.
Yeah, I find it, and thank you. That's really good. I just send memes to people. That's all I do. It's wild, son.
Well, I mean, hey, that's still connecting.
but I think the other thing is kind of recognizing what one is or how one approaches things. I know that I'm a shy extrovert, which is very interesting. And folks will say, how are you shy if you do a podcast? I'm because I have this glass in front of me, prevent person-to-person interaction. But it's I've gotten better at it. But I think it's again sort of the fitness and the muscle thing. You're building that muscle. The more that you're doing it, and the more that you have access to those sort of opportunities to be in front of a room, to be at a table, as it were, you're able to really figure out all right, small wins. This is how you navigate. You don't talk about whatever happened at this particular thing that's probably super embarrassing, but it's top of mind for whatever reason. And, kind of what are the topics to talk about in these sessions, but you have to be exposed to it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Now this is the last one, and we talked about it a little bit before we got started with the actual recording.
Okay.
What is your go-to activity for relaxation or self-care?
Ooh, I love this. I'm a big proponent of self-care. So go-to activity is definitely riding my bike. You probably will see me around Baltimore an area doing that at some point. But I would say that's definitely my go-to activity. I think riding my bike just allows me to just disconnect fully. I'm fully concentrated on what I'm doing. So That's really relaxing to me. And I also like to watch Survivor. I'm a big Survivor fan, so that also relaxes me as well, watching Survivor and, all of that. So I would say one of those two things.
Oh, the backstabbing the Survivor? How dare you? Wow, it's just so unexpected, Matthew.
I know, maybe it's like the political, I don't know what it is, but it's something about it that gets me.
Those Morgan alumni and their reality shows. I mean, we had a show in the grade school that we would watch that's now like defunct, redacted, and canceled, as it were, because I was involved in it. And I was like, all right, I hope boardrooms aren't really like this, because I survived. And it turned out to be the case. So that's pretty much it with the real questions. And one, I want to thank you for coming on and spending some time and sharing a bit about Baltimore Homecoming with us and a bit of your story. And I want to offer up the opportunity for you to share in the final moments anything you want to share, anything you feel like we didn't really key in on, social media, website, all of that good stuff. In these final moments, the floor is yours.
Of course. No, again, thanks so much for having me on. To learn more about Baltimore Homecoming and the work that we're doing, feel free to follow us on social media, Baltimore Homecoming, and our website as well, BaltimoreHomecoming.com. Subscribe to our newsletter so that you can keep up all the data around what our homecoming heroes and entrepreneurs are doing. And I really enjoyed this time, this podcast, and, had a great time.
And there you have it, folks. I want to again thank Matthew Reeds from Baltimore Homecoming for coming on to the podcast and spending a bit of time with me. And for Matthew Reeds, I'm Rob Lee, saying that there's art, culture, and community in and around Baltimore. You've just got to look for it.